What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Then We Eat. Happy New Year's. On this week's episode, we're going to be making beef bourguignon. Now this meal is perfect for New Year's. It's not incredibly labor intensive, so you're going to have a lot of opportunity to spend time with your friends and family, but it's also just fancy enough that it feels like a New Year's meal. So to start things off, we need to dice up about 8 ounces of bacon. So I'm just going to cut my bacon into about 3 strips and then just cut it into chunks from there. Now that we've got our bacon cut up, we need to cut up a 2.5 pound beef chuck. In our case, we're using beef brisket here today, which actually I find to be a terrific cut of meat for this. Brisket isn't crazy expensive here. I also find it's a bit of a tougher cut of meat, or it can be if it's not cooked right. In this case, because of the way we're cooking it, it's gonna have 0 chance of being tough. It's gonna cook it, braise it, and make it nice and tender. So if you wanna use a cheaper, tougher cut of meat, you're more than welcome to do so, because when you cook this, it's gonna tenderize it and it's gonna come out absolutely perfect. So when we're cutting our beef, we're looking to cut them into about 1-inch cubes. Now that our meat's cooked, we need to start frying up some bacon. So we're gonna start with 1 tablespoon of olive oil in a pan. Yes, seems weird to put olive oil in a pan when you're cooking bacon, but you're basically just gonna leave the oil and the bacon grease in here when you cook your meat. Our pan's not up to temperature, but we're gonna add our bacon anyway because you wanna fry your bacon from a cold pan. You don't want the pan hot when you put the bacon in. Just fries it too fast. Cooks better this way. And while our bacon fries away, I'm gonna take some paper towel. We're gonna pat dry all of those chunks of beef, and we're gonna salt and pepper them on all sides. Once our bacon's browned, we're gonna take a slotted spoon. We're just gonna scoop it out, and we're gonna put it on a plate with some paper towel. Just drain some of that grease off the bacon. And you wanna use the slotted spoon because you wanna save that grease that's in that pan, so you can fry your beef. Now that we've got our bacon out, it's time to pan sear our beef. So we're just gonna put enough beef in the pan to kind of cover the bottom of the pan, and we're gonna sear it on all sides. Once your beef has had a chance to sear on both sides, we're gonna remove it from the heat. We're gonna put it onto the same plate with the paper towel that our bacon went onto, and then we're gonna do our second batch. While that second batch is frying up, I'm gonna take 2 onions. I've already peeled them. Now I'm gonna cut them into slices. We're also gonna take 1 pound of carrots, and we're gonna cut these into 1-inch chunks. Now that our beef's done, we're gonna take our carrots and our onions that we've cut up. We're gonna put those into the pan. We're gonna fry those for about 15 minutes until the onions start to turn brown. We're also gonna add approximately a tablespoon of salt. I'm gonna go a little less, and about a tablespoon of pepper. Once those onions start to brown up, we're gonna add 2 cloves of garlic. Give that a quick stir and let the garlic fry for about a minute or so, just to start to bring out some of the flavor in the garlic. Now that our garlic's had time to cook down, we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of cognac. So we're gonna add it. You're gonna be very careful, very careful when you add this. Stand back. Now what we need to do, and again, very carefully, we need to actually light it on fire. Now the purpose of lighting that on fire, you're looking to burn off the alcohol. You want to keep the flavor of the cognac while burning that alcohol off of there. So this is just going to burn that off and keep that flavor. Once that's cooked down and the flames are gone, just give it a bit of a stir. Now we're going to re-add our bacon and beef. Give that a bit of a stir around. And next, some more alcohol. I have a bottle of Cote de Rhone red wine here. You don't have to use Cote de Rhone. You can use Pinot Noir if you'd like as well. I have Cote de Rhone here. So I'm gonna add this entire bottle. You need 750 milliliters of red wine. So we're just gonna add this whole bottle in here. And we also need to add 2 cups of beef broth. I've already added 1.5 cups. There's our last 1/2 cup. Next, we need a 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme and 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. I'm gonna make sure this is well mixed together. And then we're gonna bring it to a simmer. Once that's simmering away, just gonna put a lid on it, and we're gonna stick it into the oven. We're gonna let that cook for about an hour and 15 minutes, which time we'll be back to finish off the meal. The beef's been on for about an hour, so just as it's finishing up, we're gonna slice up some mushrooms. They are going in this as well, but we have to pan fry them first. Now, the recipe I normally use tells you to actually rip the stems off, throw them out, and just use the caps. I'm not gonna waste them, so I'm just gonna cut them into slices and use the whole thing. Now that we've got those sliced up, we're gonna add them to our pan. Now I was told to fry these with butter. I will add some butter to this, but I'm gonna pan fry them dry for a little bit first, and then I'll toss the butter in a couple of minutes. While we let these mushrooms fry down, I've got a bowl with 3 tablespoons of flour and 4 tablespoons of butter. We're just gonna take our fork and we're just gonna kind of mix it together. We're making a roux with this that we're going to add to our stew. I did stick mine in the microwave for just a second to try to soften the butter because it's quite cold here, so the counter butter, it didn't soften. I went a little too far. So you don't want to go that far, but it'll still work. Not a big deal. You're just looking for more of a harder, soft kind of a butter, I guess you could say. Now that these are fried down a little, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter to our pan. We're gonna let those saute with the butter for the next couple minutes. Our beef has now been in for an hour and 15 minutes, so we're gonna take this off the heat. We're gonna leave it on a cutting board for now, just to cool slightly, because we do have to put it back on the burner. Our burners are glass. There's a good chance if we put that on the burner, the glass will explode, so we just have to wait a couple minutes for it to cool just slightly. While we let that cool down, I'm going to prepare our bread. This is served over toast. We've got homemade baguette here today. If you'd like to see us make this baguette on video, let us know in the comments below. We're just going to take the baguette and we're going to cut it into diagonal little rounds. We now have to toast that bread. But because we've got to put the pot back on the stove for about 15 minutes just to simmer away, we're going to wait to put that bread in, but I'm going to put it in the toaster oven and get it ready. I just won't hit start. The pan should be cool enough to carry on now, so we're going to carry on. So we're going to put our pan back on the stove. You can see it's quite liquidy right now, but we're about to thicken that up, make a nice gravy out of it. So just before we do combine to make the roux, we are going to try to siphon some of the grease off the top. Now that we've got some of the grease scraped off, let's add our roux. Remember when I said it was cold in here and I said that it was too liquidy? Well, it wasn't very long and it's already rock hard again. So we're going to add that to our pan. Give that a stir in. Now we're going to add 8 ounces of frozen pearl onions and the mushrooms we sauteed a few minutes ago. Give that a stir. We're going to let this come to a boil. We're going to let this come to a boil, then we're going to turn the pan down and we're going to simmer it for an additional 15 minutes. After about 15 minutes, your beef mixture should be done. With about 5 to 7 minutes left, you can turn your toast on. I've already gone ahead and done that. So now it's time to start building our sandwiches, or our open face sandwiches of sorts. So we've toasted our bread here. Now we're going to take a clove of garlic that I've cut in half, and we're just going to brush one side of the bread with our garlic. If you like the smell of garlic, you're going to really enjoy this part. Then we're going to take a spoon and top our toast. The nice thing about a recipe like this, if for some reason you can't eat bread or you don't want to eat bread, this recipe will make a nice stew as well. So you can skip the bread and just eat it like a stew. Today we're going with the bread, so here goes nothing. We're going to start topping our sandwich. There we have it. Beef bourguignon on a baguette toast with a parsley garnish. Let's give it a shot, see how it is. Little beef, little toast, little carrot. Let's see how it tastes. Yeah, that's really tasty. You can really taste that garlic that you brushed onto the toast. The meat is absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's just got that nice kind of tenderized meat flavor without being mushy. It's very, very good. Carrots are cooked perfectly. Really, there's nothing to complain about. Great gravy, just terrific. So that's it for this video. Hit like if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit the notification bell to be notified when we upload next. We upload a new video every Friday afternoon. The recipe is always in the description box below. Share the video with all of your friends and comment down below. What did you think of this recipe? Or better yet, what kind of food do you serve for New Year's? Oh, and speaking of which, Happy New Year's. Oh, and don't forget, first we cook, then we eat. So good.